Digidestins, this is Kyle D, better known as RideMyAvatar, and today we have a BT-11 deck for all of you to enjoy. And what deck am I going to cover? None other than the King of the Ring itself, the red-based Blackwargreymon X Antibody. So, without further ado, I know this is a little bit far between. Yes, we have EX for a while now. Why am I not making EX videos? Well, I want to get ahead of the curve and get people prepped for nationals and any major events that might be coming through. So without further ado, let's get into the video. So first off, let's get into it, shall we? We will be covering the Digitama first. As always, we are playing 4 of the BT-5 Coromon. This Coromon, as long as you are Greymon in its name, you get to draw a card, which really does help you out in advantage. And I feel like card advantage is always important, especially since we hit high numbers anyway. But you can always substitute this for the other Coromon that allow you to gain extra 1000 DP. If you feel like you don't need the draw as much, go for DP power boost. If you feel like the draw is more important, then play the draw. And then we are playing one Greymon. So this rounds out it. This is another draw. So as long as we have the flush of draws, it really helps out. But if you're going to be going for power, you go for the Coromons that give 1000 DP as long as you're Greymon or a Omnimon. And then you can go for the Demimera that allows you to get an extra 2000 DP. So that's not a bad trade-off. I think this is pretty solid here. And that's our Digitama line. Next, we do play rookies, of course. We do play 4 a promo Agumon. While this Digimon has Greymon in its name, it gains plus 2000 DP. This lets us get into magic number range because we're at 13 anyway. So that makes us 15. And that can get over a lot of bodies. So as long as we have the ability we can take advantage of it. So for an extra 2000 DP boost really can go the long game. So that is kind of the objective there. Then we do play 4 of Agumon X Antibody. So this Agumon here is basically lets you Digivolve on top of a Agumon in its name for free, which we like a lot. But also on play when Digivolving, reveal the top 3 cards of your deck. Add 1 card with Greymon or Omnimon in its name, and then 1 X Antibody option from among them to your hand. Place the remaining cards at the bottom of the deck in any order. If you do reveal the X Antibody and a Greymon or an Omnimon, you grab both. You have to. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. But as long as you are prepared, that you grab only 1 Greymon or Omnimon if that's the only thing that shows up. So that is something to think about right there. And then we do play 3 Agumon BT-5. This one has a on play, reveal the top 3 cards of your deck. Add 1 Digimon card with Greymon in its name. And 1 Digimon with Omnimon among them to your hand. Place the remaining cards at the bottom of the deck in any order. This allows us to get some card advantage. Searching is very important in my opinion. We need enough consistency bonuses as we can. We do not have Mulligan in this game just quite yet. But all in all, I think 3 of this Agumon really does some decent damage. And then finally, the last Agumon we're going to be playing is the BT-8 Black Agumon. So this one is really on play. Reveal the top 4 cards of your deck. Add 1 card with Greymon in its name, and then 1 card with Dragonkin in its traits among them to your hand. Place the remaining at the bottom of the deck in any order. So what's really nice is this grabs all our top end, at least our level 6s, very easily, and then you can get another plus that way. He's really meant to be hard played. You're not supposed to really Digivolve in raising unless you have a way of getting into Agumon X Antibody right afterwards to get back into color formation. He is a very problem card if he's the only one in your hand and you don't have a way of getting into the proper color sequence. So that is kind of why we play it at 1. It just has a very powerful plus. And then let's get into the champion, shall we? we are playing none other than 4 of BT-8's Blackwargreymon Inheritable. This card allows you to basically give, while there's a red Digimon in play, this Digimon gains Blocker, which really makes it tough for your opponent to deal with, especially since you can redirect some of the attacks, but you can also block now, giving you at least a few momentums to really slow down your opponent. So all in all, really powerful. I think having him with Blocker really does set you up. And we do have at least a way of climbing up in our top end that doesn't mind being on a black champion. So that's just how that goes. Next card we're going to talk about is none other than Greymon X Antibody. So this gets to Digivolve for free on top of your Greymons. So that really helps out. It doesn't matter which Greymon we're on. At least gets a free Digievolution that way. But when this Digimon would Digivolve into a card with Greymon in its name, reduce the Digievolution card by 1 for each color it has. So that makes our Metal Greymon 4 cost from BT-08 dual color card a 2 cost, which is really nasty, but also has a really powerful negation effect. All turns, when this Digimon with Greymon or Omnimon in its name would be affected by a card effect that would return the card back to hand or deck, or delete this Digimon, you can return a X Antibody option to the bottom of your deck. So that really helps out keep your Digimon on board, and it's very powerful protection. Yes, we are not using the other Greymon because this one at least makes it so dual colors, we get a free reduced cost. That is kind of the overall goal. So that is majority of them. Last champion we're going to be playing is, though, this Greymon here from BT-05. When Digivolving, if this Digimon has Agumon in its Digievolutions, gain 1 memory. So this becomes a 1 cost evolve in the battlefield, but it needs to be a red Agumon, so you have to remember that. And then while this Digimon has Greymon in its name or Omnimon in its name, this Digimon gains 2000 DP. This lets us hit magic numbers, and this lets us push through more, and that really does help out. So very powerful in my opinion. Now we're going into the ultimates. First off, we do play 4 Metal Greymon from BT-08. This card is when Digivolving, de-Digivolve an opponent's Digimon. If it does, as long as you de-Digivolve it by 1, now you bring it down. As long as it's not a rookie, you're kind of fine. But then after you de-Digivolved, then you can delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 3000 DP or less. This helps board control, especially against the Bloom Hydra matchup. But also, while this Digimon has Dragonkin or Machine in its traits, this Digimon can attack your opponent's unsuspended Digimon. So if they had any hopes of dreams of being able to get around your big boss Digimon, throw it out the window, because this card is going to help gun their Blackwargreymons right for your big Digimon. So hopefully your Digimon has more DP than it at the time they're trying to swing. If not, you're losing that Digimon. So really, Metal Greymon is a powerhouse, and I wouldn't be surprised if they try to hit this in the next ban list. Okay. The next card we're going to talk about is none other than Metal Greymon X Antibody. So when Digivolving, this Digivolves on top of a Metal Greymon for a 1 cost, so it's not free like everything else in this deck. But when Digivolving, until the end of your opponent's next turn, your opponent's effects cannot de-Digivolve this Digimon and cannot reduce the DP of this Digimon. Also, if this Digimon has Metal Greymon or X Antibody in its Digievolution sources, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 6000 DP or less. But what's also really nasty on the opponent's turn, when their Digimon unsuspends, especially if they're going to the unsuspend phase, instantly trash a security as the inheritable. So you get free damage for just punishing your opponent from playing the game. So that gets really nasty pretty quickly, as long as you're a Greymon or a Omnimon. So that really does matter in the slightest. Then we do play 1 Metal Greymon Alterius mode. This just gives us another Metal Greymon in name, which we don't mind. Card is also treated as a Metal Greymon. Really helps out in certain matchups. Gives a sort of protection in a different way by removing sources of duplicates that you might not need. You can at least make it so your opponent has to deal with you in a different way. And then when Digivolving, if you have a Tamer in play, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 5,000 DP or less. More board control. And this Digimon can Digivolve from a Metal Greymon for free, by the way. It Digivolves for 3 normally on any of your Greymon lines, but this, well, minus the Black Greymon. So, but that's not a bad trade-off there. And then now let's get into the level 6s. First one we're going to talk about is Blackwargreymon from BT-08. When Digivolving, if this Digimon has a Digimon card with a red in its Digievolution cards, you get to delete one of your opponent's Digimon. If you have a black one, you get to delete a Tamer in its free value there. So something to think about there. And it's up to a play cost 6 or less. And then all turns, when an opponent's Digimon is deleted, you get to unsuspend this Digimon. That is, you may, if I remember correctly, there's an errata on it that makes it so it's a optional choice of restanding. So you don't have to do it right away. But all turns, that's just a free value there. But bread and butter, you get to kill off Tamers, which really punishes your opponent. And then we do play 2 Gaomon. Gaomon is basically gets to Digivolve on top of a Blackwargreymon for a cost of 2. And then this is treated as a Greymon on all turns, so that really helps out. It has security +1 and reboot, but if this Digimon has a black Digievolution source, you Digivolve one of your opponent's Digimon. And then if this Digimon has a red Digievolution source, this Digimon gains Blitz. So very easy in this deck to get that multicolor off. We have it in our champion line, and we have it in our ultimate lines now. And even in our mega lines, we're dual colored. So really helpful, very powerful. Okay. So next card we're going to talk about is the Blackwargreymon X Antibody. We're playing it at 2. So this can Digivolve on top of your Blackwargreymon for 2 costs, but it has reboot. Opponent's turn, when one of your opponent's Digimon with the highest DP attacks, you may switch the target to this Digimon. So it has to be the highest DP. So if your opponent swings with all the little guys first, might lead up to being some value there, or they can trick it into forcing it into being, if it's the biggest guy on the board, technicalities. If you swing with the rookie and then you can climb up, that's another way of dealing with it. Opponent's turn, when a Digimon would be unsuspended, if this Digimon has Blackwargreymon or X Antibody in its Digievolutions, you may delete one of your opponent's Digimon. Lowest play cost. So that gets some board control there. And it's a really nasty card. Blackwargreymon X Antibody is going to apply a lot of pressure. And then we do play 1 Omnimon X Antibody. So this Digivolves for reduced costs for 3 with an Omnimon. But when this Digimon would Digivolve, if you have an X Antibody option in its Digievolutions, this is a reduced by 2, so this applies pressure that way. When Digivolving, you may return one of your opponent's Digimon with the highest level to the bottom of their deck, and that's very nasty. You get to control the board that way. But also when Digivolving and when attacking, if by returning 1 X Antibody or a level 6 Digimon in its Digievolution sources, you get to basically look at your opponent's security, trash something scary, and apply pressure that way. Very nasty skill, and you could win games with this very easily. And then let's get into the Tamers. We got a new one, Yuya. So this is a memory setter, but also when one of your Digimon would Digivolve into a Greymon in its name, you may suspend this Tamer. That Digimon gets plus 2,000 DP for the turn, and then if you Digivolved in the same level, it gets protection from all your opponent's options till the end of your opponent's next turn. So basically, your opponent's options can't touch that Blackwargreymon at all, which is really hard to deal with because Yuya can really cause some damage. So just keep that on the mind. When this card comes out, hits the field, you better kill it fast if you're in the mirror, That is like your number one target. Then we do play Cool Boy. We're going to get that on play, looking at the top 3 cards of your deck with if you can add 1 Digimon with X antibody and traits and 1 option with X antibodies among them to your hand. Place the remaining cards at the bottom of your deck in any order. And then when one of your Digimon would digivolve into the same level Digimon with X antibodies and option, you may suspend this tamer, gain 1 memory, draw a card. That is nasty. Being able to plus like that is so easy, and it's only a 2 cost to play this card. So search added value, really nasty. Then we do play 2 X antibody options. This lets you climb up through its when attacking effect, so that you can digivolve up further and apply pressure. But also, while you have a Digimon in play, you may use this card without paying its color requirements. So it's a free thing. And then security, gain 1 memory, add this card to hand. Main effect, place this under one of your Digimon without X antibodies Digievolutions as a bottom source. And then this card cannot be trashed at all. So as long as you just bottom deck, it's not trashing. It cannot touch the trash. You can use it as other costs, though, as long as it's not either going to the trash. And now let's wrap it up, right? We're now on to the last couple options. We have Red Memory Boost. This is to help search out our key pieces and hopefully get some advantage that way. It gets to check the top 4, add 1 of your red Digimon cards to your hand, and then delay later to pop and gain some value out of it. So, all in all, great there. And then finally, the most hated card of the format, Hades Force. So, this card gets reduced if you have a Digimon with X antibodies Digievolutions in play. Reduce the memory cost by 2. This becomes a 5 cost option. And then choose any number of your opponent's Digimon that adds up to a grand total of whatever Greymon you have on board. And then you get to delete it. You get to delete a Digimon or Tamers equaled out to that. But also security, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with the highest play cost. So this lets some major damage. So guys, what did you think of this deck profile? Hopefully you enjoyed it. And hopefully you enjoyed the style of editing I kind of added to it. Hopefully it's good for you guys as it was fun for me. So without further ado, stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace!